Sorry if this review is a little bit late. As you can probably tell, my life is an absolute mess right now ever since my girlfriend decided to build up the audacity to leave for 2 whole weeks. It's been like this for 3 days now. I've somewhat been able to cope by shaping it into that of a human person to make it feel like she's still here, you know? Anyway, I'm going to quickly talk to you about Vinland Saga Episode 9, Oath. This episode covers 2 chapters, technically 3, but since that third one's only 8 pages long, I'm counting it as 2 and change. But I do wonder what the story was for this random 8-pager, because I know I've seen manga artists release short, very, very short chapters, and it might be due to a much-needed hiatus. So I wonder if the writer of Vinland Saga, whose name I will remember at some point in time, has ever gone through that. As for the pacing of this one, this was really brutal to watch, right? We start off with Thorvin in what seems to be a pleasant little dream, quickly turned nightmare after his pops basically tells him he ain't shit. And that's okay, because once he gets down to the nightmare section, he has his other daddy there to help him out. Meanwhile, on the outside, Einar's throwing farmhands with the farmhands. Anyway, by the end of all of this, Thorvin and Einar get away with getting a little bit violent with them because Patter was able to find a little button right on the wheat crop, which kind of proves that the farmhands did destroy the wheat crop and their violence was justified. Overall, I enjoyed this episode, not because we covered 2 whole chapters, but because it felt like both its own journey, its own contained journey, and also like the culmination of this 9-episode turnaround that we've seen Thorvin go through, right? Without feeling like it's rehashing anything to you too, right? Like it feels like this is the natural progression of with the way things should go for him. And it's not like we're treading any new ground here, right? Like Askeladd's basically just letting Thorvin know things that he should have already realized, and all of the emotions that Thorvin is going through right now are technically things that we've seen, you know, bit by bit up until this point. So it's just a weird thing, right? Like it's nothing new, but it feels well timed, right? You can kind of compare Vinland Saga to a guitar soloist, right? Who every 4 bars reminds you why they deserve an extra 4 bars to just keep going on, keep going on, keep going on until they're tired, right? Until their fingers bleed. But when you play back that whole thing in its entirety, it doesn't really feel like a guitar solo. It feels like a beautiful little composition. As for the other small details, I would like to first go over the fact that we now know what Thorvin was seeing at the beginning or the end of his other nightmares, right? We did get those 2 shots at the beginning and the ending of the last episode, and we kind of get some context for that now. I do kind of wonder if any of the other nightmares that we've seen Thorvin waking up from were not just the same dream, because we kind of know that, right? But if they were the entirety of this dream, or at least the first half, right? Do we just have him falling into a pit, or just endlessly falling because he's being grabbed by, you know, these people that he's killed, or does it start with like him seeing Thor's and then them being pushed down, and that's when he wakes up? Because we can't get the full dream, right? Like he can't see Valhalla and Askeladd and go through all of this in every single nightmare, or they just wouldn't be nightmares, right? As for the little details that I wanted to talk about, I do want to start off with the fact that we now know what Thorvin was seeing, right? Last episode at the beginning and the end when he was falling. But I do wonder if this was supposed to be like, or at least the previous nightmares were supposed to be Thorvin just falling or just being pulled by the dead people that he's killed. Or, you know, does it at least start with that encounter with Thor's in the beginning, telling him how, like, you know, he's upset with him, or like, you know, he's not the person that he wanted him to be, yada yada yada, and then him falling down, because obviously, you know, he wasn't ready to confront his own demons yet. So we can assume that at least the second half of this dream, right, the conclusion to this dream, has not happened in any of his nightmares. I think it's safe to say that the rest of these dreams have just been him falling down, or maybe just hanging on by a cliff, right, and then getting pulled down. It's kind of cool that Thorvin only recently found his own will to pull himself back up out of this pit, and then we get to see that in the dream itself. Like, it's really on the nose, but it's really cool. Secondly, let's address the elephant in the room. I was wrong about the type of dilemma that we would be getting this episode. I did not expect at all for this whole episode to just be his nightmare. I really thought that there was at least going to be some confrontation, but it's kind of cool that, you know, the confrontation doesn't even happen, because Ketil and Patter are able to discern that, oh yeah, you guys are completely lying, it's perfectly fine anyway. But I think I was right about the thing that Thorvin forgot, and that thing, right, just a rehash, is just his dad telling him, hey, you have no enemies, you shouldn't be fighting, basically. And once again, it sparked AOT flashbacks, especially when I saw him waking up from a dream underneath a tree. And I was gonna say that Einar gave the farmhands the Attack Titan eyes here, but after further inspection, the reaction gave me more of a Conqueror's Hockey vibe than anything. And, you know, just to drive the final nail in, we also get a shot of a warrior in hell smiling while doing battle, which is very similar to Rooftop Onigashima, Luffy specifically, especially when Thorvin takes the dead with him to make himself stronger, which just, again, reminded me of another Luffy moment when he's like saying Pedro. And I guess since we're already here, as a side note, I hope that when we finally get to that part in the anime, he sounds excited that he's able to say Pedro's name, right? I hope that the emphasis here doesn't come like, oh, Pedro, like, no, it's like Pedro, like he gets excited, he gets revved up again. All right, that's enough for the One Piece spoilers. That's my own little pet peeve there, or my own little nitpick. Potential future nitpick is that if the voice actor for Luffy does not do that. Like, I don't know, like it just feels cool for Luffy to be excited to remember the people he's fighting for instead of like, oh, I gotta do this, like he's having fun. Anyway, we got some daddies to talk about real quick. A full disclaimer for this section, I began this episode, or I guess my initial reaction here was that, damn, when do people ever get to talk to the dead? Right? Like, when do people ever get that closure? Especially in this anime where we're not really set up to be communicating with spirits. So the fact that Thorvin not only gets to hear exactly what he needs to hear, but from the two people that he kind of needs to hear it from the most, kind of threw me off for a bit. But then I remembered that, you know, we got this with Canute, and it didn't mean that he was literally communicating with the spirit. It kind of just meant like he understood in that moment, that guy's name. And so I can kind of make sense of it, less so in that context, but more so in this one, because it's like, well, this is stuff that Thorvin already knows, right? This isn't like they're telling him anything new, but also this is happening inside of his head, right? This is his subconscious mind finally reaching out to him thanks to, you know, the help of Einar and the things that he's learned from this farm, helping bring that back out, because, you know, Thorvin seems like a dude who would, you know, repress, and now he has the opportunity to confront that. But also, it's a dream. Weird shit happens anyway. I also found it hilarious that Askeladd is the one telling Thorvin here that you should be more like your actual dad, and use the people that you have killed to make yourself stronger and to try and become a better person out of that. When Askeladd is the person who killed his father and then try to become a better person out of that. It's just great. Especially when Thor's, right, the person that he killed is the person who Thorvin now should want to be like, right? Not just in the sense of like, yeah, you should be more like your dad because he was a better person, but no. The goal that I'm trying to direct you towards, he reached that goal in his lifetime. You should want to be just like that. It's almost like Thorvin has two dads, right? One to be disappointed in him and bring him back to level, or I guess to hell, and another one to bring him from hell back towards, you know, the ideal that first father was trying to teach him about. Although if I'm going to be real here, I don't think that Thor is really needed to activate Zankan no Tachi here. I think that was a little bit of an overkill, but, you know, I see the point. Either way, all of this shit is motherless behavior. Although Thorvin never really had a moment with his mom, we saw one moment with his sister, two people whose names I've already forgotten, but all good, because we'll probably never see them again. I hope that we eventually do, right? Like, I began watching season 1 of Vinland Saga thinking, well, who's this person with a helmet on that looks a little girly? Is this Thorvin's sister in disguise? Is this the thing that we're... And that never happened, but it would be cool to at least maybe not see him interact with him again, but just to have them there, right? Because it doesn't seem like the series really lends itself to the idea of needing a mother. Like, I've yet to see another one other than Thorvin's. I was also fully willing to accept the idea that this underworld of endless fighting was Valhalla. So it was nice that was actually a twist, right? This isn't Valhalla, this is reality. And then you got this really nice quote from Askeladd. There is no victory, there is no end. Everyone besides yourself is your enemy. Which again, is just Attack on Titan, right? Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy? The enemy is everyone but me. Also, fight, never stop fighting. And it's really starting to make me wonder, like, how much of these similarities is the cause of Attack on Titan being influenced by Vinland Saga, or Mappa just going, we're just gonna make these connections because we see it fit to do that, right? We've done both of these anime, and they're both seinen. We can just make those connections willy-nilly. I doubt that they would add stuff to the anime that isn't in the manga, right? Just for the sake of making that connection. But I mean, like, the emphasis on them and just the weird framing, it feels like either, again, the studio is just like, we'll play with you, or This is just proof that AOT is inspired by Vinland. And finally seeing Thor's at the end of it after, Thorvin makes his declaration that he's going to become a better person. He's going to use this knowledge that he has, these regrets to push himself forward instead of deeper. I found beautiful, right? This is it makes me understand a little bit why the last chapter that this episode covers is only 8 pages. It's literally just that declaration, Thorvin being on the farm with a hoe and just like doing his thing and making that declaration. I found that really nice, right? This is a nice way to top off the episode. And it's a good way to let you know that, Thorvin is going down the right path, right? He sees his dad, because he sees like not the finish line in front of him, but like he sees a proper, like, what's it called? Like positive reinforcement as to like, well, this is the right thing to do. I kind of know that now because I keep seeing my dad. I haven't seen my dad God knows how long. He also kind of mentioned something about being reborn here, which is cool too, because it kind of makes it seem like being reborn in some cultures is like a second chance, or like well, it could also be a second chance, right? Like you get reborn into like a different caste system, yada yada yada, or you can be reborn because you haven't been enlightened yet. So it's weird how here like being reborn is a blessing, right? I'm an empty vessel now. I'm kind of reborn, so now I have an opportunity to make myself a little bit better. And I assume, right, similar to Buddhism, it's going to be like, well, once you become a true warrior, once you've been reborn enough to see yourself in this light and then get to this level of becoming a true warrior, then you can go to Valhalla, you can go to Vinland, something like that. So again, it's a nice goal to put in front of our main character here, and now we can like follow him through it, yada yada yada, because we've been waiting to see him go through this, but now we get to see what this journey to becoming a true warrior looks like. Well, not this episode, but like going forward, we'll be able to see that. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. I hope someone out there will be able to enjoy this review, because God knows how late it is. But if you do, thanks for watching. The like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Anyway, my name is Shonen. I will catch you soon. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. I'm grinding out the shit out of Destiny levels right now because I'm gonna try and compete in the day 1 raid with an LFG team. Pray for me. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. We'll see how, if I'm even able to get light level, right? I was supposed to wake up at like an obscenely like late hour and get this review out then, but that didn't happen. I finally slept through the night, so we'll see. Life has its own curveballs to throw at you sometimes. Anyway, yeah, have a great day, have a great week. See you soon. Be safe.